Hey, this is Mike Hall, and you're listening to Bigfoot Club Podcast.
Hey guys, please go to our website at www.bigfootclubpodcast.com. Check out our merch and all episodes. Also, please look for our social media at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Bigfoot Club 1. That's Bigfoot Club number 1. Also, check out Matt Knapp's Bigfoot Crossroads on YouTube.
Robert Jesse Dominguez, Bigfoot Club, Season 4, Episode 12. I'm here with
Stephen Dominguez.
Stephen Dominguez, Robert Dominguez.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had to do that. How the heck are you, man?
I've been good, man. Just, knock on wood, dodging on getting sick.
Yeah.
The boys got sick. Blair got sick like 10 times.
Seems like that way.
Yeah, within the first week.
Yeah, I haven't been over here like in 2 weeks or something like that.
No, it's been longer than that. I feel like it's been a month.
Has it been a month?
Yeah.
Because I was in Edmond last week for work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a colonoscopy on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seemed like it's been long. I don't know. Maybe it has been a month. I don't know.
I think, yeah, it's almost been a month. And, they got sick, and I was too busy taking care of them, looks like they're getting over it, hopefully.
Yeah, because the last show I posted was the Bigfoot Road Show that you couldn't be a part of.
Mm-mm.
Man, I really wish you'd have gone to that.
Yeah,
even if it was for the day, and y'all would have left early, I think you really would have enjoyed it because it was a lot of fun. There wasn't that many kids. They were kind of catering to kids and stuff, but I met a lot of people. There. I said on the last show that ran into some of our fans, which was one of our fans was by the name of Tony.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't give me her full name, but her and her husband were there, and I wanted to thank her because last show I was thanking her, but I didn't know her name. But her name is Tony. Shout out to Tony. She listens to the show. And thank you for coming out there and meeting me. And I was really, really happy to meet you and stuff. So, but yeah, I met a lot of people. I interviewed a lot of people, man. I know I probably didn't say this on the last podcast, but I interviewed like 14 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was using the H2N Zoom. And the bad thing about that is that it picks up everything. Like it was picking up, like there was a train that kept going by too. And it was like people, because I was hunkered down like right in the annex where all the vendors were at. Like it was separate from the theater. It was across the street. And I was set up right in a nice spot that had like a shade and it had a bench. And so Luke was already there, Luke and Cassie. Mm-hmm. And shout out to Luke Gross and Cassie Gross.
They went out there with you.
They were out there with us, with me, and he was actually introducing me to a lot of people, which I really enjoyed. And so I heard so many stories about Bigfoot stuff, but the bad thing about it is that, like I said, I was using the H2N Zoom, and when I was interviewing like these people, I interviewed Tex from On the Porch. I think On the Porch with Tex. I'm probably getting that wrong, but with Jason McLean. Remember Jason McLean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was interviewing him. He had like 3 or 4 stories back to back, and so I was recording with the H2N Zoom, and the people I was recording, I think I interviewed like I said, like 6 or 7 people, and the people that were standing beside us were talking louder than the person I was talking to, so I couldn't use a lot of the interviews, which really it really upset me that I wasn't able to do it, and I was because some of these people were telling me like great stories. I got half paranormal and half Bigfoot stuff, and which was really, really good. But I feel bad. So if I didn't use your story on the last podcast, I apologize. I would do a better job on isolating people and interviewing them separately away from other people. So it's a lesson learned there. So, but anyway, yeah, it was fun. I got to do that and then hang out with Luke and James from 2427 ETC PI, I think. And I got to hang out at the Mineola Nature Preserve for like 4 or 5 hours. And man, I haven't done, a lot of field work, and I wouldn't really consider this field work because it was just a camp. It was like a campground. We just parked and just put chairs out and just listened. And a lot of the guys went into the woods, but I'm not there where I'm comfortable walking on rough terrain right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so a lot of them went to go do that. So I stayed behind with Luke, and Luke didn't want to go because I think he didn't bring like snake boots, and I didn't have any snake boots, and there's copperheads out right now, so I don't want to go in the woods right now. So
yeah,
but it was fun, and I got to hang out with them, and I think I left around 10:30. I got home probably like around 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, but it was pretty nice. I mean, it would have been nice for you to be out there to go out there and then left early, like around 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And then make it home on time. But it was really, really fun, and I had a great time. So
that's good, man. I'm glad you went. I'm glad you got time to spend with Luke too. I'm pretty sure Luke loved every second of it.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds like you met some interesting people, and you kind of buried the hatchet with somebody.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to talk about that, but yeah, I actually, if anybody knows me, that I've had some issues with Craig Woolheater, former assistant director for TBRC, and he was there, and with my condition, I've talked about this in the past on other podcasts, and I've talked to this with you off show that I've trying to be a better person and trying to apologize to people that I felt that I either done wrong to or not, gotten. I guess I just had like bad relations with them. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking to Jason McLean at his booth, and it was funny. I was talking to him. And we were just, talking about, hey, we got to get together and got to have dinner. And it was like people to my right. Mm-hmm. And they moved out of the way, and it was Craig's booth right next to Jason McLean's. Mm-hmm. And he says to me, he goes, "Is that Bigfoot Bob Dominguez?" And I go, "Hey, Craig." And he goes, "How's the Bigfoot Club doing?" That's what he says to me. And then I was thinking at that point, okay, I'm going to walk over there. I'm going to stick my hand out. I'm going to apologize to him. And I'm going to say I'm sorry because, there's just we just had some bad stuff happen in the past, and I just let it fester, and I just didn't try to be the bigger person and apologize. And so I was in my mind to think to go do that. And he stood up, walked around his table, stuck out his hand and said, Bob, he says, life's too short, and I'm sorry for all the stuff I did to you, and I apologize. And I go, man, you beat me to it. I go, yeah, I was going to apologize to you. So yeah, I buried the hatchet with him. So
that's good. That's good. That's at the end of the day, you're burying the hatchet with yourself. You're letting that go.
Yeah.
And hopefully he felt the same way. It sounded like he felt the same way.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
That's cool, man.
I gave him a little donation. So I am now Bigfoot Club. We Bigfoot Club are now sponsors to the Texas Bigfoot Museum in Jefferson, Texas.
The next time you go, I definitely need to make time to go.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever been up Jefferson.
No, I don't think so. No, you have.
Yeah, that's right. That's whenever I got sick.
Yeah, you got sick and you threw. We got to talk about that stuff eventually.
We haven't talked about that?
No.
I'm surprised we have not. Wow.
Let me see here. Let's make time to talk about that right now. Okay. So that was let me see. That was probably 2003, 2004, probably. Mm-hmm. It was the second annual Bigfoot conference in Jefferson, Texas. And how old were you then?
Like 7, 8, maybe.
Yeah, it was like I had just left the TBRC, and I was going back. I think Ken the Marvelous Marvel, Tim Cassius Clay, Buddy Britt, and it's a lot of people that I still knew. Gino Napoli, Luke was no longer part of the group, and they were doing the second annual Bigfoot conference. I think at the Jefferson Church. I could be wrong, and so I decided to go, and I was going with, what was his name? David. I can't think of his name. Do you remember?
David. You want me to say it? Really?
Yeah.
David Dodd.
We went with David Dodd, and he brought a guy, or we were, I was going to drive, but I think at that time my car was not in the best shape. And so we decided to go with David Dodd. I think we gave him money, gas money and stuff. So it was him and some guy, some friend of his, right? And we drove with them to Jefferson. And we got there pretty early, and it was like, the speakers, and I think Ken Marvel was the MC there or something. And it was pretty interesting. And I got to talk to Kenny and Tim, and that, to me, I don't know about you. You can say what you want, but that church was fucking hot as hell.
It was. And I got my age wrong. You said it was 2003, 2004?
Yeah.
I must have been like 13, 14, because it was right after when I came back, unfortunately, when Grandpa passed away.
Okay.
So it was, we went, and it was a really, really small church with a lot of people, and it was really, really like claustrophobic, but we were so excited.
Yeah.
We didn't eat breakfast.
No, we didn't.
We didn't drink any water.
No.
It was really hot. It was already like probably like 90s and late 90s of on temperature, like outside, but inside it probably was hotter because of all the body heat. So we're just screw it. Like we'll just met Lauren. Was it Lauren Coleman?
Lauren Coleman was there.
I met Lauren Coleman. Smokey.
Smokey was there.
I met Smokey.
Smokey Crabtree was there. I met a
lot of people there, and they were all like, okay, we're doing a break. We're doing a little lunch break. We got hot dogs and sodas and stuff. And we were like, oh, thank God. We're so hungry. Yeah. So I think you and I both had like 2 hot dogs each, and all they had was either Dr. Pepper or Red Fusion. At the time, I really, really loved Red Fusion. It was a combination of like Big Red and Dr. Pepper.
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
I chugged that. I think I drank 2 probably. I chugged 2 of that, and then we're good. I wanted to mention also John Bennernagel was there too. John Bennernagel, and I think MK Davis was there too. But I could be wrong. I can't remember. MK Davis.
Yeah. MK, he does like a lot of the video stuff of the Patterson Gimlin walking and stuff. So
right.
But yeah, we had some hot dogs, and I know I had a Dr. Pepper. You had Red Fusion.
I had Red Fusion. I probably had 2 Red Fusions.
And like I think we didn't stick around very long. We left afterwards. As soon as the conference was over, I think some people went out in the woods and stuff. But I didn't have my own car, so I wasn't comfortable with that. And so I think we just eventually just left with David Dodd and his mystery friend. I think I want to call him Sylvester for some reason.
Yeah. So yeah, he had a truck too, David Dodd. You remember, it was a big truck. It was like a Ford or something. And he was driving like a bat out of hell. Yeah. He was zooming in, zooming out, wanted to get us home. I guess he had to go somewhere. Or he just likes driving fast. I don't know. So Sylvester, we called him that because he was like spitting all the time he was talking. Mm-hmm. And he was talking a lot about biblical stuff. Do you remember that? No, it wasn't. It was biblical stuff, but he was talking about possessions,
demons.
Yeah, and I already have like I'm not a fan of that at all. So he's over here talking about it while David Dodd is driving like a bat out of hell, and he's just talking about this one possession, how it was just like they're at church, blah blah blah, and I was just like I was getting sick to my stomach. I was just like, okay, and I thought that was just the story itself. Mm-hmm. But really, I was getting car sick. Yeah, and David's driving was not helping.
Yeah, he was weaving in and out of traffic. It was an evening time. It wasn't like it was like we needed to get home that hard and stuff. And it was pretty tough. And I think I was okay.
You're okay. You're okay then. You're okay then. So luckily he pulls up. I'm like, imagine. I don't know if you remember that feeling, but you're a kid. You don't want to throw up, obviously. Yeah. It's like the last thing you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I was like 12. So yeah, I'm still a kid. I didn't want to throw up. Definitely didn't want to throw up in a nice truck. And I didn't want to embarrass you. And so I was like, my stomach was just turning. If you would have, I think, didn't we stop at a gas station? We did. We stopped at a gas station. I said, thank God. I jumped out and I was trying to make it to the side dumpster thing. And I think I made it. And I just started throwing up, and it was very light, but it was enough to
feel better,
to feel a little bit better. And I was like, okay, I feel better. And he's like, what the heck, man? You were like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I just think I got a little car sick. He was like, all right. And then you told David, I think, to slow down. He didn't do it. He was still driving crazy. And as soon, like, I was like, you know how we get in the apartments? It was the one where you live by the airport.
Yeah, it was Brookstone.
Brookstone. Like, he was going over the bumps, and like, I think the second bump, and we still had 2 more bumps to go. I was like, the throat was like right here.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna make it. And as soon as he like pulled over and like, yeah, you're like, David, this is good right here. This is where. Thank you so much. I got out of the car. I got out of the truck, jumped down, and I started throwing up right in the parking lot.
Yeah,
near that little island pier the grass was at.
yeah.
And he was like, oh crap, is he okay? He's like, yeah, he's fine. He's just a little car sick. He's like, oh man, I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Well, we'll see. I hope he feels better. And just took off.
Yeah, we didn't talk to him after that again,
No. Not that was the reason. It was just, you know, just parted ways. But I was throwing up. You were like 2 minutes straight. It was probably longer than that.
It was coming out of your nose.
Yeah, it was coming out of my nose, or spewing out of my mouth, spewing out of my nose.
Because like you're whenever you got sick, and I say this now as when you're a kid, you were a projectile vomiter.
I still am to this day. I will be man enough to say I still am. I threw up like 2-3 times this year, and it was terrible. And Blair finally got to witness that. She was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah,
so,
you were throwing up, and to be honest with you, I was a little concerned.
Yeah, you were, because I think you forgot I was drinking Red Fusion. It was red. Yeah. It was all red, and for a moment you thought I was throwing up blood.
Yeah,
and I finally stopped, and I was like, I was so weak, and you lived upstairs, and that was like a climbing a mountain. We finally get upstairs. I go to the bathroom to see if I have to throw up. I think I throw up a little bit more, but it wasn't as bad. And I took a shower, I think, and I think I started getting a fever. I think I want to say I got a fever or something, but I went to bed after that. Or no, I went sat down in your awesome. You had like this, like, it wasn't like a couch seat or a recliner. It was just like a love seat.
Yeah.
And I just lay down there, and I was like, oh my god. And then you started to get sick.
Yeah.
And what was that?
I don't even know. I think I got a fever, and I started getting the chills, and I started like talking about weird stuff.
You did. You put on. You go, man, I don't feel good. And I was like, you got to throw up? No, wait. So hold on. Let's backtrack on this. Whenever I was in the shower, I think you called my mom.
Yeah.
You called my mom, and what did she say?
I told her, hey, Steven's been throwing up, and I can't get him to stop. I think I might have to take him to the emergency room. And she goes, okay, see you later. See you tomorrow. And she hung up.
She was asleep.
Yeah.
She was like, you called her whenever she was asleep.
And I go, oh my, I guess I'm on my own. So
yeah. So now fast forward to where you got sick.
Yeah. At this point, you were feeling better.
I was feeling a whole lot better. We were watching MTV, brand spanking new. And they were showing, like, I think it was like Coldplay in my place. And then you started like saying, man, I'm not feeling too good. And I was like, are you going to throw up? And you're like, no, I feel real cold. Like, I was like, what? And you had a fever. And you said that you started feeling cold. And then.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you getting your sweats. And you had like a sick outfit. Like, if you were sick, you had an outfit that you went to.
Yeah.
It was the same sweats.
It was different. It was a TCU
sweatshirt, hoodie, sweatshirt, and you had, I think it was Bartech Security or Iodine beanie.
Yeah.
You put that on, and you put the hoodie on. You had a blanket over you. I think it was the John Deere blanket, and you were all like, you're like, hey, can you give me like a wet towel? I was like, oh, geez, this is serious. And I was still kind of weak, but still, but I was feeling a whole lot better. I got a wet towel and put it on your head, and then you started talking like, like I gotta let Grandpa know or something. Like, you were saying weird stuff, and I was like, what? What is he talking about?
Yeah, at that point, my dad, your grandfather, had already passed away, and so I was thinking about him or something. So
it was something like that, and then I was like, well, maybe we should just go to bed, and like, we went to bed, and you lay down. I think you covered yourself with like 3 blankets.
Yeah,
and then you turn on the heater, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
But I was so tired and so weak. I was like, I slept, and I remember you got up like at 2 or 3 in the morning, and you got up real quick and you took off all the blankets, and took off your socks, your sweats, your hoodie, and you like threw it on the ground. You're like,
I slammed it down.
You slammed it down, and it was, I think you were just hot. You were so sweaty. I was like, oh, he's feeling better.
Yeah. So I think at that time I was probably like 33, 32. So I was like, I go, man, I feel a lot better. I said, man. So I just slammed it down. I can't believe we had never talked about that.
No, we didn't.
So
every time, like ever since then, like I hardly throw up, and when I throw up, it means it's like my body is just
you're really sick.
I'm really sick. My body's like, no, what is this? And the last time I got sick, remember, I think I talked about this. I think that someone at my job made some chicken.
Oh yeah.
And it was, and I'm sorry if anybody's listening to this and they're eating. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is we just call it the throw up episode. I don't know if you want to do that.
We'll call it something.
But I had raw chicken and I ate it. It was really good, but I noticed when I was eating the chicken, oh man, this is pink. What the hell?
It's kind of pink.
What the heck?
It probably shouldn't be that.
It probably shouldn't, but I ate around it. But that doesn't help.
No.
So I was fine throughout the whole day. It was like around 11 a.m. when I ate it. And then at 3:30, I was like, okay, guys, I'm going home. Y'all have a good weekend. It was Friday. Started driving home, and as soon as I get on the I guess 141 or 121, that's whenever my stomach was turning. I was like, "What the heck?" Okay, let me get on the turnpike, and because I feel like I have to use the restroom, and I don't think I want to make it. So I got on the turnpike, and right whenever I was getting on the tollway, that's whenever I was about to merge in. I couldn't control it. It just came out while I was driving.
Yeah.
I never thought that I always thought the body would just be on rest mode.
Yeah.
No, I guess I'm at the age now where I couldn't hold it.
I'm glad you didn't wreck or nothing. So.
Yeah, see, I don't know how I drove. And I don't know, there was an 18-wheeler that was right there too when I was merging, and he saw me spew out throw up. And
did he back away?
No, I just happened to look because I was like, why am I looking? I should be paying attention to the road. I look at him and he just made a face
yeah.
This throw up all over the dashboard, the steering wheel, on my hands. And I was just like, oh my God. And I just couldn't stop. And whatever it was, my body was just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just, back to what you said. I've always been a projectile vomit.
Yeah. That's, well, number one, I'm glad you didn't wreck or nothing or hurt anybody or you get hurt.
The inside of the car.
Yeah.
Throw up.
I call that, what do I call the car now?
The throw up car?
The throw up car.
Even though we cleaned it already?
Yeah, cleaned the heck out of it.
It was funny because whenever I called Blair, I was like, hey, I need your help. I just parked. I'm throwing up. I need your help. And she was like, I told her, give me some towels because I threw up in the car. She's like, oh no. She comes out and she sees how bad it is. She goes, oh, I'm taking the van. No shit, Blair. I'm not going to be able to clean this in time for you to go.
I got to go get my whiskey.
Yeah. She's like, I got to go get my whiskey. But yeah, that's the throw up story of Jefferson, Texas, and now.
Wow.
It's terrible.
Okay, that was a segment of that's for the Bigfoot Freshie. So if you heard that right, clock down the time and put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, Instagram, or at Bigfoot Club 1. So just mark that down and you'll get a Bigfoot Freshie. Anyway, so what I kind of really wanted to talk about today was I actually got a story, and I sent you the story. What'd you think about the story?
I thought it was very interesting and authentic.
Yeah. So I got a story from this lady that follows me on Twitter. I was going to read her Twitter. Her Twitter. I can't even say it now.
Twitter.
Her Twitter handle, but she didn't want me to. So, but she was messaging me on Twitter, and she kept telling me about these Bigfoot stuff, and I DM'd her back, or no, I messaged her back on Twitter, and I said, hey, can you send this to our my email, bigfootclub1@gmail.com. And she goes, yeah. So she did. So I just want to go over it real quick. Her name is Lana.
All right. So she put, I do not remember the exact day, but I know the month was May like it is now, and the year was 2019. I and my husband had known about Sasquatch sightings in our county, Columbiana County, Ohio. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. And we were pretty fascinated to learn more. We live in a small town about 2 miles long called Salem, and the majority of sightings or encounters we had heard about had taken place in neighboring towns like Leetona, where they now have annual Bigfoot festivals, and Lisbon, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing what we knew, we never even thought about the possibility of activity happening in our neighborhood, let alone in our town. But one particular night, I had experienced something that felt like a lot like a scene out of a horror movie. It was about 3 a.m. and I was sitting at my laptop doing some reading in the back bedroom, while my husband was at his computer in the living room playing some online RPG game. In our town, past a certain point, it gets dead quiet out. There are train tracks nearby, and occasionally you're going to hear those train horns. It's something you just become accustomed to hearing. There's familiarity to it even. But the sound I heard a little after 3 a.m. that night did not sound like a train horn or any sound I have ever heard before. And if I were to describe it, it sounded like a lot like a very deep owl hoot. The funny thing about this is I have never heard an owl around here before, not even once. So I found that very strange. My first thought was it could just be some kids messing with us. We had kids living around here, so it is possible. Nevertheless, I got up and headed straight for the back door that's located in our kitchen. I opened the door and popped my head out, and I listened. I didn't hear a thing at first, just a very eerie dead silence that I found very creepy. I was also experiencing a manic episode since I'm bipolar, so I felt very energetic and awake, and I knew I wasn't just hearing things. Then as I stood there listening, searching all around me, that's when I heard these very loud, heavy footsteps coming from around the side of the house where there is no light. There were still leftover dead leaves back there, and I could hear them crunching underneath the weight of this thing. At this time I was listening, I couldn't tell if it was coming towards me or walking away. That didn't matter. By the time my gut was screaming at me to get back inside and lock the door, so I did. So that's when it dawned on me that this thing sounded way too heavy to be a person walking around back there. Not to mention what I heard sounding like it was on 2 legs as well. So I knew it wasn't a deer, and we do get a whole deer families that come through here from time to time. But based on my gut feeling, when it was screaming at me to get back inside, told me that whatever this thing was something I did not want to see. I didn't even peek out the kitchen door window because in my mind it was bad enough that this thing had lured me out by making a noise that it did. I honestly felt stupid, but people in general can be pretty stupid when it comes to this kind of thing. My husband looked surprised when I told him what had just happened and asked if I saw it. I told him I didn't and didn't want to. That's the truth. And I guess that thing, whatever it was just passing through. If I had to guess, I would say it was following the deer who would come through here. I've learned that deer like to stick around humans because it makes them feel safer. And sometimes there are even food sources like bird seed from feeders or even small gardens. A neighbor of mine has both of these, and when I asked her if she had heard or seen anything out of the ordinary, didn't mention Bigfoot at all. She told me that she thought she saw some tall person trying to look in a neighbor's windows around here. I found that interesting, but still made no comment about it possibly being a Sasquatch. There are a few instances following that event where I was told by some other neighbors that also are good friends of mine about strange growls being heard late at night and strange smells like something had died. I remember one neighbor of mine complaining one night that it was trying to locate a source because she thought it was a dead animal laying somewhere close by. She never found it and the smell went away. Of course, the first thought on my mind was that it could possibly be that Sasquatch or whatever it was coming through again. There are large areas of woods which are interspersed. There are large areas of woods which are connecting between neighborhoods that could act as a perfect travel route for something like Sasquatch or dogmen. And we do have dogmen here too, from what I've heard. But it's true when people say these things are everywhere and even places you wouldn't expect them to show up, like my area, for example. But after everything I've come to believe and accepted it, I'm not out to take pictures or prove they exist because I know they do, and would rather just leave them be. I do feel like it was a possible juvenile that was messing with me that night because I've heard accounts on other talk shows where it was mentioned that Sasquatch, especially juvenile ones, like to imitate animal sounds and sometimes even people's voices. But what I heard that night sounded like a 400-pound owl hooting. Apparently owls are one of the most common animals they like to imitate. I'm not going to fall for that trick again. I do know that. And I'm glad I didn't take off after it when I heard those footsteps because there's no telling if this thing would have attacked me or not. But I think as soon as it registered to me just how heavy it sounded, I knew better than to risk my butt going after it. I've not heard anything since, but I do keep alert when I'm up late or even outside taking out trash or just smoking. Just a few nights ago, a friend and a neighbor of mine mentioned she heard something weird outside her window. So maybe it's decided to mess with somebody else. She has a brother that actually saw one crossing the road in front of him once, and out where he lives, there has been activity in that county too, which is Mahoning. So, yep, they're everywhere here in northeastern Ohio.
That's actually an interesting story. I actually emailed her this past week, and I asked her if it was okay for me to use the story. And she actually did. She agreed to do it, and then I asked her, "Hey, let me know if there's like more stuff going on." So she actually wrote me back on Sunday.
Oh,
and she said on here that as for more recent incidents, just the other night while I was stepped outside for smoke, I thought I heard some vocalizations in the distance. It was around 12 a.m. and it was dead silent outside as I listened. And then I heard a loud whooping call coming from far away. There was a large open field down the way where I know were some wooded areas, and it sounded like there was the first call came from. And after the vocalization, I continued listening and then heard another similar call from way over in another direction, and made me think that there was a Sasquatch communicating back and forth, and that's how it sounded to me. And I kept listening, but soon after, the train came by after that. I found the incident rather interesting, especially since this was around me at the same time I heard that it was imitating the owl the other night, and this must be one of the most active months around here. Anyways, I definitely let you know anything else happens around here. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So I don't know her that well, and I don't know if she's a Bigfoot researcher but it sounds like she knows a little bit about the stuff that she's talking about. Cause she talks about, she was talking about at the very beginning, when she was talking about, her area, Leotoni and, Lisbon. And if you look up on the map, Columbia County, it's northeastern Ohio, right next to Pennsylvania. And there's Salem on the top, and there's Leotoni, and then there's Columbia, New Waterford, East Palestine.
It's kind of west of Pittsburgh, is it?
Yeah, you're right. Pittsburgh's right next to it. I was in Newcomerstown, Ohio, in 2001, 2002. Flew into Columbus, and then I drove to Newcomerstown with Luke Gross, Craig Woolheater, and Jerry Heston. We were part of TBRC. We were representing. Then we went to the 12th annual Bigfoot conference that was run by, at the time, Don Keating, and so it's not too far away from this area. So, but that's area. It's like you're saying. It's northwest of Pittsburgh. So, and there's lots of Bigfoot stuff in that area. Cause I know, Eric Altman, that was on the show on the first season. He runs, Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society. And I know he's all over that area. So there's tons of Bigfoot in that area. So, to hear her story talk about, she didn't physically see it, but she heard, and then she talked about what I thought was interesting about the footsteps, and that she knows there's like a deer trail that goes through there, and then her, equating it to like a movie, and like, she didn't want to look through the door and thinking she's going to see like a big Harry and Henderson guy looking at her.
Yeah.
So, but
which is understandable. Yeah.
Yeah. So what'd you take on hearing the story?
I like how it sounds like she's either she knows a lot about it already, and I think she's just heard so much about it or she's heard so much about it all her life, and then now I guess she's probably noticing it now. I like how she could. I guess when you live out in the country like that, you're able to differentiate.
Yeah.
The sounds of a deer walking, or something heavier, and she was able to decipher that it was something heavy,
or 2 feet
with 2 feet,
right,
or walking on 2 feet, 2 legs, and notice it by the weight of it, by the leaves,
right,
crunching. Like, was what I wanted to ask her if she was on the show was it like a big pile of leaves? Like, could she just tell by that, like the massive crunch on it? She was able to still hear the crunch on it. So it's obviously, there are dead leaves, but how big was the pile? And like, did she still hear like a heavy thud on the ground?
Yeah,
while was stomping, or not stomping, but walking. Yeah, it sounds like it happens a lot over there, and they're just like,
Yeah, what I thought was interesting also is that she was talking about a story about her neighbors had smelled like something dead, and they were trying to find a source, and eventually it went away. And anybody that, if you hear anybody, or if you interview anybody, if you hear or you read stories about Bigfoot, that's what they always come out to saying, is that there's a foul smell, and then eventually it just goes away. It's like, it's almost like, some people have told me it smells like garbage and like poop or something, like old garbage and poop, and it's just like smudged together. Smudge, is that even a word? Smudge.
Smooshed.
But and then she talks about Dogman too. So
yeah, it's another thing too. She didn't like. She said it like nonchalant, like, "Oh yeah, we have Dogman here too."
Yeah,
but one thing I don't know. One thing I think I've asked you that too, is that how can you decipher what's between the Dogman and the Bigfoot? Like,
yeah,
like
I think a lot of people get, a lot of people just misidentify a Bigfoot,
or maybe they just don't want to call it a Bigfoot. They wanted to call it look like a dog. It's Dogman. Let's call him Dogman.
I mean, because a lot of people say, they had their ears were high on their head, and they have a snout, and they have canines, and like most people that I've talked to, and most stories that I've read, Bigfoots don't have canines. They have just square teeth, and that's it. I mean, but you see movies and you see artists, they draw a Bigfoot and they got canines, and really they really don't. But I mean, who to say that the Bigfoots have canines? I'm just saying, I'm going off what people have told me in the past, and that's what all I can do is just go off that. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a couple of Dogman stories here in Texas. I'm sure there's a lot. I haven't run into anybody that has talked about it, but if someone were to talk to me about it, I'd listen to them. And I
mean, because you got to think, like, this is how I take it. I think I don't know, but I think the Dogman is just another. It could be just another name that other people just don't want to believe it's a Bigfoot. They just conjured it by just calling it a Dogman. Or who's to say to people who saw it, like, it was a Bigfoot walking through like a bunch of trees, they're big. Yeah. And like, it's just probably leaves on their head, on their hairy head.
I mean, I don't subscribe to this theory, but in the past, when I was with the TBRC, there was some people that had believed that, Bigfoots in Texas weren't, because they were so aggressive, they didn't have a lot of mating opportunities. So they had incest within their own group. And a lot of them, because some people say there was like 3-toed footprints, and so they would equate that to that, as that they were incest, and then they have some kind of deformed offspring. And so who's to say that they'll have a snout, or their face is deformed and it looks like a snout, or they have to have 3 toes, or I don't know. I mean, they're a lot skinnier, they're taller. I mean, there's lots of theories, but I don't. It's just...
That's a good theory. I mean, yeah, and it's kind of funny that they always equate that to like just humans itself and people in the South.
Yeah,
It's like, oh no, let's go ahead and just throw Bigfoot into this because there's three-toed, and Bigfoots are.
It could be like a bear trap. They got in the bear trap and they lost their toes.
They lost their toe, or it's a possibility that they were deformed. Like it happens. Like
or they had a fight with a croc or alligator. Or something. I don't know. Or he just has 3 toes on both feet. But I really liked her story, and I hope she continues to communicate with me, and I'll keep reading whatever she sends us. And I'm really happy that she opened up to us. And I think if she's listening, I would say to her that because I can't tell when I read this that it sounds like she's excited, right? Mm-hmm. It sounds like she's interested in it, but she's a little bit afraid of it. Maybe not, but maybe I don't know if she really wants help, because I would say to her, if she really wanted not to see a Bigfoot or to drive the Bigfoot away, is that to put up game cams. Because I know I've talked about this before on another podcast that when it was a theory that I had and other people in TBRC that Bigfoots could see these game cams, and if the readers don't know the listeners don't know what a game cam is, it's like hunters put it out on trees and it emits like this infrared beam, and if game like deer or hog cross it takes a picture.
Mm-hmm. Let them know what type of animals in the area.
Yeah. Let them know what's coming through that trail and stuff. So it has always been our theory that Bigfoots can see that, and so we used to use it as a deterrent for Bigfoot. So if someone saw a Bigfoot and they didn't want to see it anymore, I would tell them, buy some game cams and put them up in your backyard and you won't see it anymore. And it would always work. I mean, Bigfoots wouldn't come around anymore, because there was this one lady in East Texas. She was having Bigfoots coming through, like peeking through her back windows and stuff. So I told her to put these up, and she put them up, and it was gone. So, and we used to use it like in the field, like it's to corral like a Bigfoot, to keep him out of an area and try to get him into this other area. And but it was just theory then. It was conjecture.
It's a good theory.
Yeah. So it was one of those things that, and what I didn't mention before that she was saying is that about hooting like an owl. So to me, it sounded like she knew a little bit about it, because not everybody, like only Bigfoot researchers, and this because we used to talk about it all the time, is that Bigfoots tend to mimic owls, and the barred owl here in Texas is one of the ones I get all the time whenever I hear a story, and they sound like because a barred owl sounds like if you hear barred owls like mating or they do the mating calls, it sounds like chimps. They actually sound like chimpanzees, hooting and howling and stuff. And howling, is that even a word?
Howling.
But they tend to do that. So to me, when she's writing the stories, it sounds like she knows a little bit about Bigfoot and what's going on, and that's something to have Bigfoot come up to your back door. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's, unless you're like way in the woods or something like that. I don't know what I would do if I were.
Because she was smoking when that. No. She was. I take it back. She was on her laptop, and that's whenever she went out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it was just probably it just happened to pass by, and then when she opened the door, I'm pretty sure it was all like, whoa,
startled and left.
Like,
so
whoa.
And then she was talking about it following deer. How does she know that? I mean, because it's just it's good. I mean, it's like you don't get this type of witness on, because she's given us a lot of information on here, and you normally don't get that from like from a witness, because I've interviewed hundreds of witnesses, and I've had to pull information from them. I had to call them a second time and like interview them a second time and say, hey, how about this, or what moon phase was it? Was the wind blowing? I almost sound like Tim Clay for a minute.
Yeah.
But
Mr. Good Memory.
But she went to the gambit on this, and she picked up a bunch of stuff, and it was really, really good. I wish she would have saw it, though. I mean, I'm not sure if she wants to see it, but I wish she would have.
Yeah, I don't think we should wish that upon anybody who doesn't want to see it.
Yeah,
because she said it. I was like, I do not want to see it.
But she seems interested in it.
She seems interested in it. I guess she just, it's kind of cool because not many people would say like, hey, I think I had Bigfoot activity around my house. Mm-hmm. So yeah, her story was definitely interesting. It sounds like she knows a lot about it already. Either she's done research about it, or she knows somebody or she just just researched on it. That's very interesting story.
Yeah, because like at the very end of the email, she sends out BigfootMap.com, mm-hmm. and she's looking at sightings in that area, and she's mentioning that Leotona was had some incidents on March the 12th around 1 p.m. and something around that. So, but she's also mentioned that there's like a Bigfoot festival in that area too. So that must be pretty neat. So,
mm-hmm. It's probably a nice area, a lot of wilderness and.
Yeah, when I was in Cummerstown, that part of Ohio was like hilly. It was like a bunch of hills, mm-hmm. and it was like these were like hills that were really tall, where you couldn't even see like the sun. It'd block out the sun, and it would like come down real. It would be like a McDonald's on a really big tall hill, and you had to go up a steep incline to go to the McDonald's.
Jesus,
but yeah, I think in 2002, 2001, we had the Bigfoot conference there with Don Keating, and I really enjoyed it there, and I met a lot of good people, and that's pretty neat. But there's a lot of activity in that area. It was Conshohocken County, I think it was called. But anyway,
I was going to ask you, what do you think about? Because I'm on TikTok again, and I always come across like paranormal stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't like it because some of it is like either really, really well edited to where it's like it can be a jump scare.
Yeah. Or
it's actually authentic and you're like, that looks kind of real. I wanted to ask you something about, what do you think about skinwalkers?
Skinwalkers?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you talk to Native Americans, they wholeheartedly believe them. I don't have a lot of stories about them, mm-hmm. but again, if someone were to bring me the stories about skinwalkers or dogmen, I would listen to them. I don't get a lot of it because I know a lot of it's like toward the west. Skinwalker Ranch, it's in Utah. They got a lot of UFOs and a lot of sightings and stuff of skinwalkers out there. So it's southeast of Ballard, Utah. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I mean, like I would like any kind of story, and if someone were to bring it to me, I'd listen to them. There's
I have to find it again, but there's a video or a TikTok video of like a woman. She started recording, like, I guess she forgot something or she tricked something. There is a lady that a woman. She recorded like her unlocking the door and coming back in the house, and from the view of her opening the front door, there's like a little hallway to the right where you could see, like, I guess the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And she puts her dog in the bathroom, I guess, I'm assuming, so that way he doesn't go out and, like, mess with stuff, Mm-hmm. So as soon as, like, she opens the door, she's already recording. Door opens, pans, and she sees the bathroom door already open, and she sees her dog go, like, standing up, like, I guess holding onto the doorknob, and like peeks around, looks at the door, and goes, and then closes the door. And then a lot, like, it was cut, it was like stitched, and it was like some Native Americans, like, he was like, that is not your dog. That is not a dog. You need to get rid of that dog right now. That is a skinwalker.
That, I've heard stories on other podcasts that had a dog, like a couple picked up a dog, and they loved the dog, and like they would go to work and they would come back and things were all over the house were moved. Mm-hmm. And, and like and they would show, and then there was a couple incidents where they would see like they would get up early in the morning and they would see like wet footprints of a human, and it would lead to like a certain room, and it was the dog that was in there, like he was wet or something, you know, and like he had transformed or something. I've heard stories about it, like I've read stories online, but I've like no one's ever come to me about it. But man, that's kind of weird. But yeah, we should probably post it on the Bigfoot Club, the TikTok you're talking about.
Yeah, I have to look for it. I try to avoid it because I'm focusing on just the gaming part. With my old TikTok, it was nothing but paranormal weird stuff, and I did not like running into like there was always like some type of demonic possession or something like that. It would just pop out. I'm like, God dang it, really? I'm about to go to bed. I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why like I wanted to restart fresh and do it differently and not just focus on game Twitch streamers and all that stuff and our funny stuff. But I remember seeing that and I was like, man, that is creepy how the dog looked.
Yeah.
How it looks. And it's real because you know how when you're recording something in the light, it's reflecting green of their eyes. Yeah. So the way the dog just peeked around the corner of the door to quickly look who it was. And she was like, she gasped. She's like, oh my God. And then he slams the door. Like that's
weird for a dog to slam a door.
The dog just slammed the door, and then that's whenever he got stitched. And it was the neighbor was like, "That is not your dog. That is not a dog. That is a skinwalker. You need to You need to get rid of that dog or whatever that is."
Yeah.
And I was like, man, and I just kept. I remember I was like, it would just go on the loop, and I would watch it, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah, find it so we can post it.
It looked. If I remember correctly, it looked like a Rottweiler.
Crazy. This is going to lead me to the next segue. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it. But you have a Twitch, right?
Yep.
And I'll let you talk about it.
So I recently got back into Twitch, and it was just weird because I've always wanted to do Twitch, but I was too lazy. But I got back into Twitch because I was like, Elden Ring came out, and I was really obsessed with it. I still am kind of. Yeah. And if I wasn't playing it, I wanted to watch YouTube videos about it, like people building the perfect build of your character. Or I was like, I'm going to go to Twitch and see some people play it. Cool. So I look up Elden Ring. Like the third or fourth person was this Twitch streamer. I'm gonna drop his name on it. His name is the Cosmic Wolf. Great streamer. I automatically liked him because he kind of, in a way, reminded me of Gibran in a way. And he was playing Elden Ring, and I was just like, hey man, I'm a new follower. And we hit it off, and he's really cool. And so he was just telling me about, hey, you want to go? Have you thought about streaming? And I'm like, I've thought about it, but I'm just not. I don't know if I'm stream material. And he's like, no, didn't do it. So I started doing it. I got back into streaming on Twitch. I'm on the road to be affiliated with Twitch. Now, whenever you get affiliated with Twitch, that's whenever Twitch notices that you're getting a certain amount of viewers and followers. Right. And they allow you or let you in on the second level where people subscribe to you and you get paid. Right. They get paid, you get paid, and and then you work to become a Twitch partner, which is you get paid more with ads and sponsors and all that.
How does someone follow you on Twitch? Well, where's a good way to find you?
You could. The great thing about me is that all my stuff is the same on every platform: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I even have a Facebook page dedicated to the Twitch at Big Boy Jones 2029 2029. You can find me on that. Wow, I can't believe you're asking me to do it. I never thought you would ask me on that. Yeah. But how does someone find you on that? So yeah, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok. I was trying to stay away from Facebook, but you and Blair were like, hey, you need to really push it out, and that's the one way to reach out to other people.
I mean, it's a means to get it to other people, and it just drives me insane. Like whenever people just do a podcast on Facebook or they just do a podcast on YouTube. No, and there's different platforms. That's just one platform, and so Facebook is another platform that I think you'll get a couple. If it's like 6 viewers, and it's worth it.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that another streamer I like is Pastor Gaines.
Yeah.
He's on Twitch, and he does these little chats where he talks about getting yourself, promoting yourself, and because in order to do that, if you want to make it big, you have to be on every platform.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to. He's like, so you need to. So I'm on Hover too. That's another thing that's like kind of like TikTok, but it's only for streamers. Mm-hmm. So it's Big Boy Jones 2029 2029. So yeah, that's whenever he said that you have to be on every platform, I was like, yeah, you know what? It's true, because I have like 64 followers now.
Yeah,
and you have to have 50 followers to to be one of the requirements to be affiliated. Mm. And I just got to average about 3 viewers every stream. But I enjoy it. I like it's therapeutic. Video games is already therapeutic already. So, but yeah, streaming is like a whole new level, and I kind of want us to do that eventually. Whenever we do the Bigfoot Club podcast, like to Twitch it live sometimes. Like,
yeah, I think so. Whenever you were talking about this, it kind of started fires under me. So I actually created a Bigfoot Club 1 Twitch channel. So
you did.
So we're gonna probably eventually, because you were saying you have to stream a certain amount of hours for them to let you like post videos and stuff on there. Mm-hmm. So I guess upcoming we're gonna probably do some Twitch streaming on the show while we're actually like recording, so mm-hmm. people can actually hear the show probably beforehand before I release it.
Yeah, they want to hear the uncensored version, or the goofy parts, like the episode you'll listen here, it'll be edited, obviously
edited down,
but you'll hear like me trying to tell the boys to be quiet whenever they're being too loud, or my dryer going off in the background,
or your loud ass neighbors upstairs or something.
Which surprisingly, knock on wood, we haven't heard them.
I know, I haven't.
What the heck?
Maybe they're out of town.
Maybe we should knock on the door like, hey, man, like, you weren't on the show tonight. What happened? I don't know why I sound like super Hispanic. You weren't on the show tonight, man. What happened?
I know. Were you Tony Montana?
Yeah.
Hey, man. You need to be on the show tonight, man.
We haven't really made fun of Blair on here. But,
we haven't even mentioned Matt on the show either.
Yeah, Matt. Oh, so, yeah, Matt's been he wants to help me on the Twitch, which if you're listening to this, Matt, I appreciate you watching the last couple streams on Twitch. I really appreciate it. You are literally that one extra viewer that helps me get there. Blair's been great too. She's the one that actually made the Big Boy Jones 2029 Facebook actual page. Mm-hmm. And she's been running. I just told her, because I try to stay away from Facebook. It's just too much.
It's a lot, but it's. I mean, I'm grateful for Facebook because it's got us like the numbers that went on Bigfoot Club right now, where it's at right now. So I gotta stick with it and just stay there. So that's just me.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll start doing the live Twitch episodes. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I think it would.
Yeah, we just got to make sure we clean up.
Yeah, make sure it looks nice and soundproof, and have some. Like a segment for Blair whenever she wants to chime in. We'll call it the whiskey bar, and she'll have her own like bar. She's like, have a glass with me. Let me tell you about this. Like she'll talk bad about me or something. I don't know.
We can call it the whiskey sour.
The whiskey sour. There you go. The whiskey sour. Yeah.
And we haven't done a shout out to Cassandra or nothing. So
another shout out to Cassandra.
Yeah, I actually had dinner with her last week. When I was in Edmond, so I had dinner with her. Man, that girl can put away some food.
Yeah, she can eat.
Yeah, she ate flautas. We end up going to Chilino's place, mm-hmm. and it's a place that I think she's been to before. So she knew the menu, and I told her what's good, and she was telling me that it was some kind of guiso that I think.
Oh man, you had me right there already.
I know it was some kind of guiso that I think. Her dad always orders.
Oh, okay.
And I go, my dad always orders this. And I thought about getting it, but then I went to tacos al carbon, which I always get whenever I go to a Mexican restaurant. That's my standard. Is that I gotta.
If they know how to make it, it's good. Everything else is good. That's your go-to thing. So that makes sense.
It was kind of neat because I was eating there with my coworker Jason and Caitlin, and Caitlin's boyfriend came up, Lane, and he had fajitas and he put 6 fried eggs on it.
Man,
I know, it's like that looked really, really good. But
who would think of that?
That's what I told him to. I said, "How would you think of that?" Because I just asked for it one day.
Because he's on keto, right?
Yeah,
he's on keto, so that's like perfect.
Yeah,
it's like
eggs and steak.
Yeah,
fajita steak. So
man, this guy knows what I'm talking about.
I know.
Like, this guy's going places.
Shout out to Lane.
Yeah. So it was your coworkers and Cassandra.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so she got to meet your coworkers too.
Yeah, she did, and so I was talking to her about the Bigfoot Club, and she was telling me that that she listens to all the podcasts and she's going through all them. But this is what she told me. She said that she's had a hard time listening to the episode 1, 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah,
yep. That's
she goes. I've tried it. She said I've tried to start it a couple times and I just can't get through it. I said, like, if you think that's hard, it was hard for us to talk about it.
Yeah, because we were like already like one of us or both of us are going to start crying.
Yeah,
and it was. I think I said that, and it was me.
I ended up crying too. Yeah, so, I mean, it was
a hard episode. That was a really, really hard episode, but it needed to be done, and that was like the great. It wasn't great. That moment wasn't great, but it was a good season opener for that.
Yeah,
a good comeback.
I will say this: that it hasn't had a lot of downloads, but it's okay. I still wanted to talk about it and get it out of my system, and but it was just one of those things that talking about it and then doing it was like something else.
Nobody wants to do something that they really love, and when they're not feeling 100%.
Yeah,
that's I take that back. Some people do that, but you're in a state where you just wanted to move again, to be.
Yeah.
So it's like I have a fever. And I have COVID. I don't want to play video games. I was like that when I first got COVID. I had the option to. I was out for 2 weeks on work, and I was covered on that. And all I wanted to do, all I had enough energy to do was lay there, control my breathing, and watch The Office.
Yeah,
I think I watched the season 1. I finished the whole series that 2 weeks, and a little bit of. $1 Million Home or something like that.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that super happy guy.
But she was kind of telling me that getting back to Cassandra, she was saying that she had a hard time listening to those episodes, 1 and 2, and I told her that's fine. And she goes, but he goes, I've been listening, and so she was like showing me her phone. Mm-hmm. And I think it was her Spotify or Podbean or something, and it was showing played, and it was just kind of neat how. And then she also said that she's listening to Bigfoot Crossroads too.
Oh, nice!
So
nice.
she's listening to that. So
Matt, you should be happy.
Yeah,
you got another listener from the fam.
So it was kind of neat to talk to her about it. So I don't know. So I sent her a shirt too. So she's supposed to be sending me a picture with her.
She's got to wear it while she's giving haircuts.
Yeah, and
be like, "Hey, so you like Bigfoot?
Check it out.
Check it out. There's a club for it." We eventually got a event. We have to get. We have to get cards, like professional cards.
Yeah,
that has all the Instagram.
Yeah. We can ask Rote for that. He does cards.
Yeah, there you go.
At his job.
But we have to get like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Uh-huh. Check out these cards. Like, I don't know if you've seen that. Have you ever seen that movie?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen that with Christian Bale? Mm-mm. Man, that's a really good movie. I think you would like it. It's really funny. Well, it's dark, but it's really funny.
Christian Bale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
You know what I've been watching a lot lately is Rounders.
Rounders?
Yeah, that's a great movie.
I was going to tell you about this too. I don't know if you want to watch it. It's up to you, but it's very, very interesting. I started watching Severance. Didn't you ever hear that?
No.
About that show? It's on Apple Plus. Carrie was telling me about it. He goes, yeah, I watched it Me and Michelle watched it. It's okay, but I think it's up more your alley. I think you would like it. And it's about what's his face? Oh my God, what's his name? It's got actor Adam Scott. You know who Adam Scott is?
I think so.
That guy right there from Step Brothers.
Oh yeah.
It's Adam Scott, John Turturro, and there's some other actors that you probably don't know on there, but I recognize John Turturro and Adam Scott. He works for I want to say it's a government company.
I've seen the previews. It looks like a hollowed out building or something.
A hollowed out building, and he's himself. But whenever they I guess they sign a like a rule thing whenever they get hired, is that they literally you have to give your body to that building, to their department, and the department's called Severance, where they sever your memory and everything. And so as soon as he goes into the elevator, he snaps into work mode, into severance mode, and he's happy. But as soon as he leaves, he's like so drained. He does like, man, what happened? Like, what did I do today? They're not supposed to do it. They're not supposed to remember, because whatever they're doing is very secretive. And I guess if someone gets kidnapped or something. But it's
crazy, huh?
He beats me straight up. Pay him. Pay that man his money.
John Malkovich.
I love that scene. I also love the scene when he goes, very aggressive, but I will not be pushed around. Mm-hmm. So I re-raise you 2,000.
That's a good movie.
It is a great movie. So I don't know how we got from talking about Cassandra to Rounders.
To Rounders, yeah.
Severance.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah.
I think you should see that show, though.
Yeah.
Severance. John Turturro plays a funny character on
there's
there.
There's like a big cast of people in there, right?
Yeah. It's just weird. It's hard to explain. I'll say this: when I saw the first episode, I go, "What the is going on?"
Yeah.
And then I'm on the 4th episode. I think there's 9 episodes total, and it's like, oh, okay, you're starting to. He wants to try to figure out what he's doing there, but they're keeping an eye on him. They have everything like
it almost sound like the Matrix a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I was saying like it's like and when they're looking at their computer, it's like numbers, and they're told, if you see a 4 or 5, those are bad numbers. You have to put it in this file. Do not put it in any other file. And so when they're seeing the numbers move, it's like, oh, I see a 4, and then that's all they do. 8 hours.
It's weird. And
they're like, how's the weather outside, Johnny? And they're like, oh, it's really good, man. Yeah, like it's like they're forced to be happy, but as soon as they leave, like the first like minute you see Adam Scott's character, he's having a mental breakdown. He's not happy.
Yeah.
But as soon as he goes and turns in his badge and everything, he's
happy.
He's happy. That's weird. It's a good show, though.
All right. I'll check it out. And I think by that, we could call it a night.
I think we should, do a show that's like 4 hours.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's just do it.
You realize how happy that would make Cassandra? She's like, oh, crap, that's 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Holy crap. We hit the mother load.
Yeah, I think she's happy with last episode because it was like an hour and a half. So
yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, you ready to say goodnight? You got any shout-outs?
No, I already said out my shout-outs. Cosmic Wolf and Pastor Gaines and Cassandra.
Yeah.
And Blair. Love you.
Blair. Yeah. All right, man. We'll call it a night. Goodbye and good night.